right, pardon board is reconvening. We're at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. It is Monday, March 27th, 2023. It is 9:44 a.m. Would the staff at front please introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, Donnie Gordon on board.
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Carl Thomas, security, assistant warden.
Joe Butters, assistant warden.
Okay, now, Mr. Sparks, you'd like to introduce yourself. Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Upper Sparks, 13, 14, 18.
All right, yes, sir. Mr. Sparks, let me just acknowledge before we get started, the folks who are here today in support, you can probably see them on your screen. We have the Parole Project, Mr. Myers, Ms. Clark, your daughter-in-law, and your son, Arthur Sparks. All of them will be speaking on your behalf. We'll call on them at the appropriate time to do so. First, let me just verify some information with you. So, Mr. Sparks, as mentioned, your DOC number is 131418. You're here this morning seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Orleans Parish, October of 2001, as a habitual offender for armed robbery. You received a 27-year sentence. Is that correct?
Partially as attempted armed robbery.
Okay, sorry. Your case this morning has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, seated to my far right. Would you answer his question?
Okay, Mr. Clark, how old are you?
65,
How long have you served on this sentence?
22 years.
Okay, what's your educational?
I left school in the 12th grade.
Have you got your GED since you've been in prison?
No, sir, I haven't. I was told that by me having so much time that I would have to get on a long-term program, and I just lost interest in it after that, to be honest.
Right. Folks, I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to tell me the honest to God truth. Tell me everything that happened that day. As there's been some conflicting story. What happened?
I tried to rob a Subway sandwich shop. In the process of it, I decided to change my mind and I left.
You decided to change your mind when y'all went to the back of the store?
I was in the store and I realized that it was something that I didn't want to do and it was wrong to do. So I turned around and left out the store. And shortly after that, I was arrested.
Okay, and then you were caught by the police. Okay, because in your application, you strongly denied that you tried to do any kind of stuff. Now today, you're admitting that you did try to rob the store.
Warden Bordelon brought that up to me. I think that's an error on the part of the inmate council that helped me fill out this because I am guilty of my crime.
All right. How many children you have?
I have two sons and a daughter.
You have any contact with your children?
Yes, on a regular basis.
Okay. Were there any drugs or alcohol involved in your crime?
No, sir, it wasn't.
I see you were convicted of manslaughter. What went on there? Once again, tell me the truth.
I went into a nightclub, got into an argument with a guy. He followed me outside. It ensued into a fight. A gun was pulled and he wound up dead. I panicked, grabbed the gun and ran.
Did you shoot him?
It was his weapon, for as I know, I never touched the gun but past the point when I picked it up off the ground.
Did you go to trial?
Sir?
You go to trial on that charge? Or you pled guilty?
I pled guilty to a manslaughter charge and I was sentenced to 10 years.
How would you plead guilty to a manslaughter charge if you never touched the weapon until it was on the ground?
Because I was advised by the judge and my lawyer that it was in my best interest to take the manslaughter charge to keep from getting life in prison or the death penalty.
Yet that supervision expired normally. You had a good period of supervision. Tell me some of the community service work you've done while you're in prison.
Well, since I've been here, I've regularly volunteered to do the sandbaggings in the community around here when severe weather comes up. I currently work in Baton Rouge at the Department of Corrections headquarters as building maintenance and a carpenter, and anything else that I'm asked to do, I'm more than willing to do.
Okay. The chief is opposed. Your son, Arthur Sparks Jr., is in favor. Miss Mona, who worked at the subway, she's sorry that you don't take responsibility, but she has no comment. What classes have you taken since you've been in prison?
I've taken anger management, parenting 1 and 2, and I'm currently in pre-release, and Warden Burdelaw has me signed up for victim impact and what's that class, sir?
I think that was it. Victim awareness.
Well, victim awareness.
What did you learn from anger management?
You need to take more time to think before you react. A lot of times your anger puts you in a point where later on you regret what you did. The class taught me that if you take time to think, a lot of the times the actions will change.
How many write-ups have you had since you've been in prison?
22 years, maybe 11.
Okay. Your last one was for fighting in 2019. What was that about?
Me and a friend of mine horse playing, and I got punched in the nose.
Okay. Had some contraband early in your stay. And what was the contraband about? 2011, 2009, I think it was.
Unauthorized item. I guess you could call me a self-made electrician. I repair headphones and radios, so each time I was caught with a paper clip, some solder, and some electrical tape, which is illegal for us to have in a dormitory area.
Okay. Do you have any kind of medical history?
Right now, I have an A1C problem that just occurred. I have cholesterol, and I have a high blood pressure problem.
You have a favorable recommendation from Billy Barrett, a major. Warden, what can you tell me about Mr. Sparks?
He's been with us for quite a while, just about his whole incarceration. He was here in Hot. He's done a few programs back in 2016, like you indicated. He does work hard, trustee. He's been a trustee for a while now. No real issues. We did talk about, just coming to, admitting, owning up to his responsibilities of what he done with his crime and taking victim impact so he can better understand that, which he's agreed to do. So, but he's been doing well.
Can I have no further questions?
Right, we'll hear from the folks who want to speak on your behalf. Could we hear from the parole project? Mine.
Good morning, Kerry Myers, Louisiana Parole Project, here this morning to let the board know that Mr. Sparks is our client. We support his release. Should he be released, he will come to our program and complete this program before going on to his full-time residence in Georgia with his son and daughter-in-law. At 65 years old, Mr. Sparks still has decent health. He has skills. He's still employable. He served 22 years of a 27-year sentence. And we just ask this board to consider those factors today and overall and give Mr. Sparks his recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Clark?
We need him home. Even though he was been physically absent from our lives, he's been a greater part of success for us. We need his strength. We need his love. We need him here with us. My biological father didn't raise me, but in the time that he has been in my life, he's made me a better person. He's some of the things that he's learned even from the anger management classes and things, he's taught me some life lessons, and we really need his support. We love him. He's become a daddy to me more than any other father that I've ever had. He has 3 grandchildren, and they also have benefited from his existence, even though it's been phone calls and visits. We need him. We need him at the football games, at the track meets, helping with homework, just him being able to physically re-enter our lives. We need the stability of having our daddy with us.
All right, yes, ma'am. Thank you. And could we hear from Arthur?
Yes, ma'am. I would tell you, ma'am, I've learned a very valuable life lesson from my father, watching, what he's been through and what he's going through there, and that worked to help me to become a better father. I served 15 years in the military, 3 tours to Iraq. All 3 tours, he was there for me. He called to check on me to make sure that I was okay. That's my Superman, and I'm just ready for him to come home. He's willing to come and help me coach my football team because I coach another team, and I want him there. I would like to have him there with me, for the support, just to support him also. And like she said, my kids, they all know him. We visit him. He emails my daughter, my oldest, on a regular. He's a very good help to me, because sometimes when I have things that I'm going through here, and I email him to call me, and when he calms me down, talk to me, son, this, and I love him for it, and I would just appreciate it if he can come home.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate your input. All right, Mr. Sparks, is there something you'd like to say to us before we go?
I'd like to apologize for my actions to the people that suffer from my actions. Why at the time I did what I did, it was bad, but I realized then as well as now more so that I hurt more than just me. I hurt my family. I hurt the victims. My family is suffering from what I'm going through because they did this 22 years with me. I can honestly say right now that it may sound funny, but my incarceration has made me a better person. I can honestly say that I'm willing and able to go out there and be a productive part of society right now.
All right, thank you. I think we are.
Okay, Mr. Sparks, done a good job in prison. You've taken some classes. I wish you'd been a little bit more forthcoming about your crime. But I'm gonna let that slide today, and I'm gonna take a chance on you, and I'm gonna commute your sentence to.
Mrs. Sparks, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Based upon Warden Borlon's remarks a good transition plan within the Louisiana Parole Project, and you have served approximately 80% of your sentence. My vote is give you parole, I'll make a recommendation to the governor to give you parole eligibility after serving 22 years.
Thank you.
Uh, After listening to Warden and all of the things you've done, I agree with Mr. Freeman. My vote would be to commute to 22 years, recommend the governor to commute to 6. Good luck.
Mr. Sparks, based on the remarks by Warden Bordelon, I do agree. My vote would be to commute your sentence to 22 years. I have to consult with staff to see what the outcome is. Stand by just a moment. We'll be in, you stand by. Okay, I'm Mr. Sparks, we're back in. I just had to get a little clarification. So because we only have 4 members present today, it requires a unanimous vote. So you did get a unanimous vote that your sentence be commuted. It's what we're commuting is where we didn't have a unanimous vote, but we do have a majority that says to commute your sentence to 22 years. So the recommendation we'll make on your behalf, Mr. Sparks, is that your sentence be commuted to 22 years.
Okay. Thank you.
That, all right. All right. So, Warden Bordelon, I believe that concludes our business at your facility. We're going to adjourn at 10:01. Thanks for accommodating us today.
Have a good day.
Right. Typically for these commutation hearings, they do have 5, but because they only have 4, they need to have all 4 agree on it. I guess for him, it's a big deal because he kind of, with all the years he was in at his age, it was basically like a life sentence. So that's a big deal. The governor still needs to sign off on it. And then my understanding is that he would still need a parole hearing, unless it's that he served enough time, he would automatically, unless he's just serving out the sentence. So maybe he won't have a parole hearing. Let's see. It was a strange case because he didn't really do much. We'll go over the court transcripts. It's really quite a, how do I do this so that it's a little bit easier to see? Let's see if I could zoom in. He's not a very good robber, I'll tell you that. I mean, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but my understanding is you don't rob a store early in the morning, right? You wait until it's the evening when it's a full register. And he came in first thing in the morning. So on September 20th, 2001, a 12-person jury found him guilty. Okay, so let's see. Statement of the facts. It was at a Subway shop. 10:15 a.m. on May 22nd, 2001, 2 employees and a man later identified as the defendant entered the shop. The man was wearing a white t-shirt and a jeans cap. sunglasses, white tennis shoes. He asked for a job application. As he was reaching for the job application, the man pulled a gun. Mr. described it as a gun as short, old, and the man was shouting, "Give me all the money." When he opened the cash register, the compliance, the gunman said there wasn't enough money there. So the gunman said he wanted to go to the safe. When he directed one of his employees to take the gunman to the safe, when they went back to the shop, Mr. Monu ran out of the restaurant. He found the other employee was already outside and on the telephone reporting the incident. Within seconds, the robber came around the back of the building and ran down Conti Street. A man in a truck with a police logo came by, and Mr. Monu told him of the robbery. The man began to follow the gunman. Well, that's good timing, huh? The man driving the truck called the police on his cell phone and reported their exact location. The police apprehended the defendant, identified him as the man who pulled out the gun, and demanded the money from the cash register at the Subway shop. Mr. Shenna Compton, an employee of the Subway shop, testified that the shop had opened a bit early for Jesuit students, but the first person in there was a man asking for a job application. Her boss, Mr. Momu, was in the process of handing him a form when the man pulled out the gun. When the detective apprehended the defendant, he said, okay, but I didn't take any money. The defendant admitted he attempted to rob the Subway shop. The baseball cap and sunglasses and a cigarette lighter were found at the trial. The detective read a statement the defendant gave after he was arrested. In the statement, he said he needed money to pay his mother's electricity bill, and he intended to borrow it from a coworker but could not. As he came to the Subway shop, he found a gun on the neutral ground. He walked into the shop without a plan to do the business, but he snapped. That's actually funny. He found the gun on the neutral ground. Does that sound familiar? The same way that it was the man who he shot's gun, who he had just found on the ground, but didn't shoot it. Remember how he had served that sentence for, what was it, manslaughter? Or he just found it on the ground. It's just funny. I mean, whenever I walk around, I'm always finding guns on the ground, you know? That's pretty, wow. He walked into the shop without plan to rob the business, but he snapped. Yeah, he didn't plan to rob it. He was just walking, minding his own business, and there was a gun on the floor in the front of the Subway. So he's like, let me just pick this up, walk into the Subway store, maybe I'll get a sandwich. No, you know what? I'm going to go rob it. He got nervous and ran outside without taking anything. His prior conviction was manslaughter in 1989. You know, the things that scare me, it's like when you get convicted of manslaughter for shooting someone, how do you pick up a gun again? It's like you haven't learned a loaded gun pointed at someone. They go down and the ground handcuffed. He was asked about the gun in the Subway and was robbed. He told him he had no gun. He knew nothing about the robbery. And told her if the defendant cooperated, he would get a lenient sentence. He told the court the guilty of lying is supposed to confess to officers. He explained that he made a false statement because he's a convicted felon, and the police told him that there were witnesses who would identify him. It's also funny. It's like, I don't know what a gun, even an old rusty gun, goes for on the streets, but if you really had to pay your electric bill, you would think you could pawn it or sell it for something. 16 years old on May 22nd, the defendant said he thought by making a false statement he would receive only 2 years in prison. by making a false statement. So he's claiming in this appeal that he lied about being guilty. And he was sentenced. His 27-year term was imposed without benefit of probation, suspension, and a sentence. And they commuted it to 22. Hey, it is a long sentence, 27 years for armed robbery. They couldn't even prove that there was a gun, right? I don't think they ever found it. It was just his own confession. The magical gun that was on the floor. And at his age, what is he? Is he 65 years old? Did I read that right? So it is a long sentence. They threw the book at him. I mean, you were charged for second-degree murder once in your life. Like, I wonder if you guys are able to even see all of that. I hope so. Anyways, hopefully he stays out of trouble this time. And I mean, I do think he served enough time. He went into a store. He did bring a gun. The victim really wasn't opposed, and he's served a long time, and it's still going to be a while until he gets his sentence commuted. The governor has to sign it. The governor might not. With that, I'll let you go.